We have a voicemail number. That number is 219-2-DAVID-P, 219-2-DAVID-P. Here is a voicemail from a medical student explaining where some of the riffraff around ivermectin is coming from. Let's take a listen to this.
Hey, Dave. I'm a med student in Arizona, and I just wanted to call and say that I really loved your segment on ivermectin today. And I also wanted to say that I think the ivermectin thing is a little bit more complicated than people are letting on. Obviously, ivermectin does not work in humans for COVID, but a lot of the people that think that it does are citing a study that looked at ivermectin in an in vitro way. So they just took cells in the petri dish and injected them with ivermectin, and lo and behold, it killed COVID. But the dosage that is required to do that is so incredibly high that in any person that tried to attain that level of ivermectin in their blood, they would probably die or have severe side effects. So that's why it doesn't work. So I think that it's just sad that no one actually realizes that. So a great segment. Really appreciate it. Have a good one.
Yeah, I appreciate the additional information. You know, this is one of those things where, like, if ivermectin really worked, I would be saying this is fantastic, guy. Like, I don't care. You know, before the entire hydroxychloroquine fiasco exploded, about 10 days before Trump came out and talked about hydroxy, I did a segment where I said, here are 6 things we are looking at that are being studied, which might have an effect on COVID. And I listed hydroxychloroquine. Look, I never had a problem. I don't know anyone on the left who really has a problem. And there's this conspiracy thing about the reason that they're covering up that these things work is if there's a good treatment for COVID, then the vaccine wouldn't qualify for emergency use authorization. There's no evidence whatsoever that that's going on. If ivermectin had an efficacy signal in a blinded with a placebo group, randomized controlled trial, I would say we should be looking at using that or hydroxychloroquine or whatever, but it's just not the case. And we can't pretend that things are something that they are not. We've got a great bonus show for you today. Unemployment benefits end today for millions of Americans. We're going to talk about it. Flu season is coming, and it could be a pretty bad flu season. I got my flu vaccine a couple weeks ago. I will tell you how it went. And there are new plans for a $400 billion city in the desert, which have been unveiled. Very interesting. And we will talk about it all on today's bonus show. Sign up at joinpacman.com, and I will speak to you then in mere moments.